Be getting this game underway pretty shortly between FlipSid and Heroic on train and then overpass. We're not live, don't worry, just in warm-up still.
Counter-terrorists win.
Hasn't started great, guys, don't worry. Don't you worry yourself. We're still waiting. As you can see, there's only 9 players on the server. And as Moodbot just instructed, there is 2 matches going on at the same time. So if you happen to prefer the other match, then feel free to check that one out. It's on the main stream on Pro League CSGO. But for FlipSid and Heroic, the 2 teams that are actually at the bottom, rock bottom of the ESL Pro League for this season. It's going to be a little while longer before we get this underway. I'm not sure on what the delay is right now. Obviously, we're about 5 minutes into the schedule. I'm going to kind of chill back. I'm going to be solo casting this evening for you, so I'm going to chill back and just let you guys watch the warm-up until we get live. Alright, sorry, we just changed a couple of settings there, guys. Should be A-OK for you now. And looks like we are going to be getting into the action between Heroic and FlipSid. First pistol of the first map. 2 will be coming at you. Second map is Overpass, for those of you that are curious. And very much a battle for bottom position here. Now, I will say that Heroic coming into this, statistically speaking, are in a much better position on both maps. FlipSid really struggling on both Train and Overpass, but seemingly liking Train a lot lately. Been playing it quite a lot, but have been getting smashed. I mean, the only teams have been beating really have been like sort of tier 3, tier 4 teams. And this round has started pretty solidly for them, with Valda trying to peek up Ivy. Here's Heroic, that's the first player to fall to the hands of Electronic, the newest member of FlipSid, coming in for Shara. Meanwhile, Freeze is going to try and put him down. Lots of damage expended, finally takes him out. And that is going to force the FlipSid into a more one-dimensional push onto the A site. You'd have to feel. FlipSid notorious for incredibly slow sides on their T side, which can make for not the happiest of viewing sometimes, especially when it doesn't work out for them. They seem to be stuck in that gear. But Freeze with a couple taps backs off away, and it looks as though FlipSid will be looking for an execute onto the A side of the map. Coming down, Pop Dog will be 2, and 2 through T main. Here comes Waylander, the bomb in his hands. And the Molotov is going to isolate some of the CTs from one of them. The flashbang is also on point at this point. Now, Will Deadit's going to go on with a Glock. First frag goes his way in this confrontation. There's Clay with a beautiful one tap, looking for a second one. There we go. Lands it onto Waylander. Now, although the bomb has been planted, it's a real rough situation for Blade, who's all alone in the 1-on-4. Make that a 1-on-3. Make it a 1-on-2 now, actually. And Heroic will come out to the good in this clutch and pick up the first round of these 2 maps. FlipSid will be disappointed. They had the first frag on this round. Unable to capitalize. So if you guys remember there was actually a couple of issues earlier on where Heroic was still coming up as Team X, if you guys remember, just a couple of weeks ago. So fortunately that has been fixed. FlipSid into P250s and a Deagle. Deagle in the hands of World Let It, of course, the AWPer for FlipSid. Markelov, the secondary AWPer on this map. And he is going to be working through T main. Double stack of players on the A side. It's going to be both Valda and Snappy, with Glaive watching from Ivy side, leaving Modi and Freeze on B. So pretty much a standard setup, nothing out of the ordinary. But here come FlipSid. They're going to be looking to pull the trigger and get their way in and around the A plant. Markelov lands the P250 tap, finishing off what Electronic started. Now Waylander's next up. Valda comes in with 2 big kills, and there's Freeze as well. And it's gone horribly wrong for FlipSid. After getting that first pick, it looks like they won't be getting anything else out of this round. If Markelov can take an extra player with him, that'll be a job done, but it's not going to happen. Heroic with a quick fire double. You what, mate? Device? Neither of these are from the UK. Ah, unless by UK you meant Ukrainian. So for now, Modi's going to be on B side by himself. Bit of a rough ask, but you often see a lot of teams doing this. Likes of VP will run Taz on B side by himself, but it's so good at this position. The problem is, however, for FlipSid, that they have the smokes, but I was about to say they don't have much information, but scratch that. Glaive is the first player dead and buried. That's going to keep 2 of the CTs now on the A side, one of which needs to be Snappy. He's going to actually take more of a passive role as a result of the casualty of Glaive. He's going to be pushing back onto Ivy side. So this gives a much more passive approach for the CTs, and now allows FlipSid to try and make the most of these potential weaknesses. Markelov is still around the Ivy side of the map. He's just going to be running interference right now, keeping the CTs interested. 45 seconds left on the timer as Blade comes to race. They're really selling this fake, and actually lands the one tap onto Snappy through the smoke. The frag comes down. Freeze is going to return the favour though onto Electronic. So back and forth frags. Freeze is looking for a second one, takes it down. What could end up being a real important kill at that. Waylander's taking damage, has to be very careful. You know, no more grenades on the table for FlipSid. They have the bomb planted in a 3-on-3. It's going to be a rough ask here for Heroic. They have at least got 1 kill, but look at the positions of FlipSid. Taylor-made to fend off this push, and Blade and Waylander will get the crossfire down. FlipSid finally on the board. And Heroic's economy in a pretty rough position. You can see Snappy on just $1,800. So yeah, 5-7 Kevlar will be the order of the day for both him and Modi. They have an op for Freeze, but no Kevlar. Apparently the title's wrong. Unfortunately, I don't have control of that. I'm just the scrubby streamer / caster today, boys. So let's see if Heroic can put this mixed bag of weaponry to use. Glaive with a UMP just behind the Ivy box actually comes out, but the UMP goes spraying, but only does 19 damage and freezes the next player to fall. He was burning partially in the flames, and without the Kevlar, that was really starting to rack up the damage. And the blink of an eye, just Snappy remains. So FlipSid have had a pretty decent start at this map, all things considered. It was looking pretty rough after the second round, but they've stabilised and knocked Heroic down a few pegs. Bomb planted on B. And Snappy is on the prowl for a potential frag, and he's spotted Electronic, but the problem is there's a lot of terrorists to contend with, and only Markelov has eaten any kind of damage. Markelov with the frag, FlipSid 2-2. Unfortunately, I am not Kappa Pride for you, Mr. Supreme. Heroic, full eco, purest sense of the term, all USPs. A throwaway round, flip side. Will be looking to capitalise on this. They must realise the economy of Heroic is intact. They'd have seen a couple of 5-7s drop. They'd have seen how easily it was to breeze past the first frag as well. But Glaive is going to land a tasty headshot, so Blade's going to go down at the very least. They're going to take something out of this round. Honestly, any kills with USPs only is pretty impressive. Can they get more? Freeze is trying to tap his way to victory. In the meanwhile, FlipSid are just kind of caught in no man's land. They're not really pushing, and this could allow some of these cheeky shoulder peek one-taps to come to fruition. Modi's going to go up for the boost. I mean, Heroic have done this a few times already, but Freeze now actually has the frag and the AWP, but unfortunately can't put it to work. UMPs are still ringing out 3 kills. With USP, pardon me, said UMP. Definitely a different weapon, of course. But 3 kills with the USP. What is happening here, FlipSid? Yes, you should still take this round. Modi's only on 6 health, but how are you going to even concede 3 frags? That is nuts. And will they get their hands on the AWP? Because remember that FlipSid did have an AWP coming into this one as well. So that'd be a heavy investment that's taken off the table. So Modi's actually looking for the exit. I was kind of surprised at first that he didn't just go outright for a potential weapon. You only have a USP, you've got nothing to save into this round, but I feel like he's now setting up for the exit frag. You can see that Electronic and Waylander in team main, and here comes Modi now. Doesn't want to save this. He's going to go down, but again, no investment lost. Another buy, again, is going to see Freeze into a glass cannon up. So, honestly, a pretty damn good eco round for Heroic. 3 kills with USPs. Puts FlipSid now into a position where both Blade and World Edit don't have a huge amount of money, but, of course, now the terrorists. Let's see how long it will take for it to catch up with them, potentially. Of course, if they can just lock this round out, then that last round has no relevance whatsoever. Marklov with his AK actually comes out second best in that train. It's going to be Valda who gets the first one, but he gets picked off from Electronic. And now it's all on Snappy to try and put down some serious pain. It's to be 2 frags. Electronic actually turns his back on him, leaving it a 3-on-1. It's all against World Edit. He's in the team main at this point, but he's got so much time to play with. The bomb out in no man's land, but he can salvage this one. He's still peering towards Ivy. Of course, we have the benefit of knowing that's going to be a fruitless endeavour. Freeze gets spotted and killed. Remember, Heroic's economy's in the dumps as well, so any kills that World Edit can put onto the board further stresses the CTs. And World Edit's not done just yet, you know. This is clutchable. It's going to ask a lot, but it's in the realms of possibility. Modi's going to get the next player picked off, and World Edit tries to spin around. Glaive knocked down to 32 will clutch, but again, I'll go back to my original point that was that Heroic, off a couple of shabby rounds, don't have much money to play with, so taking 4 players down really impacts them. They'll be able to rummage together a buy, but it's going to be far from ideal. It's going to be a UMP and a FAMAS in play. Only the 1 kit, lack of grenades on both Snappy and Valda, although Valda does have a smoke. But no incendiaries and only a couple of HEs. And HEs on this map, honestly, are pretty solid. There's a lot of close-knit environments for the Ts to stack in before they execute, so that's where the HEs really come to prominence, but let's see if this works. Electronic through the smoke. Heroic are already buttoned. What? Freeze through the smoke, though, returns the favour again. Keeping the T's honest. First time we've seen him wreck someone through the smoke. I'm sure it won't be the last time. Waylander with the entry onto Freeze. He's going to put down the AWP and remain on the ground. It looks like it's going to remain on the ground anyway, as it is out on the B side. Glaive maybe has half a mind to try and salvage this, but Heroic's economy after resetting their round loss is going to be really poor, so just saving these weapons is probably the order of the day. Glaive is going to get the frag and trade out before the AK-47 gets picked off in the cross, so it's definitely not a worthwhile endeavour. Meanwhile, Snappy puts down Markelov. And 4 players will be taking their weapons through into round number 8. FlipSid certainly in the better position at this point. Not just economically speaking, but of course in terms of rounds too. Heroic only have 2 assault rifles to play with. Very unlikely to force buy behind this. Just want to save for a rainy day. But it does give them 2 players, honestly, with a bit of power and a bit of potential to try and take this round away. And both of them, interestingly, actually going onto the B side. So potentially going to go for a fairly aggressive push up through box halls is Valda, alongside his partner in crime, Snappy. Meanwhile, the fast execute has came onto the A side. So FlipSid reading this one perfectly. Played with a spray down. Not able to get it on the first time of asking. And that nade from Electronic was a bit of a whiff, I think it's safe to say. Bounced off the train. But it is going to be a massacre. So, easy pickings. FlipSid with the plants. Again, Heroic, who actually could very well escape this round with 3 weapons, which honestly would be mission accomplished. You know, they've reached the goals that they maybe have set for themselves. Try and hold off, but if they can save weapons again, then they'll do just that. This now gives them a fighting chance in round number 9. That's, of course, if Valda can hold on to this AK. Electronic's going to be coming in only with 2 health, though, so he's a dead man. Bit of overkill. Valda's next to headshot. And once again, we have a big percentage of the players on the server keeping their weapons intact. And this now allows Heroic to drop some weapons across to both Glaive and Muddy, who are on about 4k, so they can fill in with the Kevlar and the nades. So a solid buy, probably the best buy we've seen from Heroic so far. It is without an AWP, but it is full Kevlars with full nades. Glaive going walkies, could get punished. That flash is absolutely on point. Thrown out from Snappy. Perfectly timed. You can see Markelov covering his eyes. Couldn't see a single thing. His retina's burning in his skull. And now Heroic have the upper hand, but they've got to convert this. We've seen them before get into positions of the dominance and throw it away so far on trains. So can they finally push the button and start the convert? Waylander with 1. Snappy is incredibly low behind the green train until he's coming around the corner, and there is the pre-fire. Blade gets the second frag, and suddenly it's back into the quality as Blade goes back for another kill. It's just blow for blow. Blade's down to 3 health, however, but here comes Wall. It misses out on his first chance. Can he get his second one? He's going to miss that too. He's still somehow alive. As Glaive doesn't punish him, but the flashbang's on point again. FlipSid have been wrecked by flashes this round, and Glaive has converted 3 of them. 3 more notches, and make it a 4th. Nice quad, courtesy of Glaive, and Heroic pull it back to the 1-round deficit. Lackluster round by FlipSid. They tried their best to retaliate, but after that first pick, it just went pretty convincingly away from them. Well, let it though. It does beg the question, if he landed either of those AWP shots in the 2v2, that could have easily gone the way of FlipSid. So that is a bit of a rough mark for him, at least. He is currently on 7 for 6. He's been doing pretty solidly. Glaive 12 and 6 has been consistently good for Heroic, even in the rounds that they were losing. He was landing a bunch of eco frags. So with FlipSids, you kind of know what you're going to get here in this round. It's going to be a slow one. It's going to be steady. Probably not too many kills for the foreseeable future, although it looks like they are making a move now onto the B side of the map. But of course, this could also be a fake. Here comes the play. About 45 seconds left. Muddy not off the train, so using that pop flash. Electronic gets flashed as he tries to push out of there. Muddy with a spray down now. The bomb has been dropped out onto the site, but how many kills can Muddy get from this position? The answer is just the 1. It was looking good that he may be able to fend off the push until the rest of his teammates got close enough. But now it falls to Val, Snappy and Freeze to try and get it done. Make that Snappy and Freeze both with AWPs in their hands. Waylander's going to get the drop leaving Snappy. First kill goes his way, but it's very unlikely he'll connect the dots onto anyone else. Better to save the AWP. And Heroic really just haven't got this half going. You can see their rounds have been sporadic. They've got one here and there, but the only two that they've put together, as you'd expect, is after the pistol. So it goes to show that FlipSid have been certainly striking a lot more frequently. The key man here could be Waylander, but he's actually gone the wrong side. The closest player to Snappy taking his weapon away. Not going to happen. FlipSid will move to a 6th round. Already on T side, this is pretty solid stuff. It's typically their T side that struggles for me, so it certainly bodes well for the early stage of this match. But interesting enough, you can see if you look at the scoreboard, that in terms of frags between the two teams, this is very even. So it goes to show how close a lot of these rounds have been. FlipSid typically not winning out cleanly. I don't think they've had a single round where they just blitzed through the site and got 0 casualties. But it will just be Snappy in the hands of the Danes. That has the AWP. That's the only weapon they have coming into this. Just USPs alongside that. I thought maybe he'd drop it across to like Freeze and then pick up a sidearm. Obviously Freeze being the primary AWPer for Heroic, but that's not the case. It gives them 2 potential power plays. And Freeze has already shown that he is very happy to pick up the AWP and the glass cannon, but that's neither here nor there. Heroic have already decided how they're going to be coming through into this round. FlipSid pretty much just setting up for the anti-eco, making sure that Heroic don't try any shenanigans, pushing through maybe box holes or going aggressively through Pop Dog. So pretty standard Counter-Strike as far as FlipSid are concerned. Heroic in the meanwhile, we're in a 4-1 stack and now have moved the play into Connector, but in the meanwhile Blade is making a bit of a meal of that frag. That was a one-on-one against the USP. He was dropped to 9 health. That would have been embarrassing. But in the meanwhile, FlipSid have finally decided to push their power through onto B, and they are going to get rewarded with just the bomb plant for now. And of course, you assume, and indeed it seems very much the case, that the round will follow. Heroic will be saving once again. Of course, for those people joining that maybe haven't seen too much professional Counter-Strike or don't play at a super high level, you'd be like, why are they saving 2 USPs? They're setting up so that Snappy gets defended. The idea is to be 2 meat shields, and 2 USPs with a crossfire is a pretty scary premise. Now pushing out to see if they get the AK. There's no doubting that that AWP will survive. So, Snappy takes the AWP through into the next round, but you can see still 3 players mid $3,000. They have the decision whether they want to buy or not, and they have gone for it. So it's going to be a Mag 7. They could have a UMP, maybe a Mag 7. Alongside a 5.7. No, it's not going to happen. 2 for masses instead. I was curious if they'd go for more utility as opposed to the firepower, but they've actually gone for the FAMASs. So this does give them a bit more power at range. The FAMAS obviously should be coming out second best against the AKs anyway. There's the pop flash. It's going to be Valve that pushes in, though, and decides better of it. Backs back out again, so surprises me if he's going to play that way, where he wouldn't just pick up a Mag 7 instead. Maybe just push into teaming with a Mag 7, see if he can get that pop flash in effect. How are we doing in chat then, boys? You all good? FlipSid looking commanding. I've got to say, they've been impressive so far today. Heroic haven't really got off the starting blocks too well. Just Glaive, really. They're trying to pull the rest of his team to the finish line with him, but proving to be a bit too heavy. Well, then it's going to be going in first. I assume we'll have some kind of a pop flash into peak, but actually goes out raw instead. That could have been a bit dangerous, but in the meanwhile, Glaive is going to throw out the flashbang. Lands both in the eyes of Markolov and Worldedic. Keeps them at bay for now. There comes the incendiary. It's going to force that Worldedic into the open. He's actually going to be very close to burning to a crisp. He's going to use that smoke to try and extinguish the smoke. And in the meanwhile, Glaive is just going to push straight in. Doesn't respect that at all. Rushes through with the FAMAS. Gets the spray down. Picks up the frag. The problem, though, for Heroic is that the terrorists have forced their way onto the B side of the map. Freeze with another one is keeping the terrorist spread thin. So this retake is going to be a lot more effective. Markelov, though, looking around in the shadows, should have the first frag. He's going to pick that one up. Looks like the second one. Beautiful headshot. The problem is the bomb is being defused right now, but it's got 8 seconds. And this Molotov should be coming through any second now. It hasn't quite spread far enough. Oh, it's so unlucky for Markelov. You could see what he was going for. But it bounces off the wall and is too shallow. Bomb will get defused. And Markelov's flank very nearly paying off. So close, yet so far. Molly didn't spread. So FlipSid will concede the round. But Heroic, we've already seen them not be able to string together 2 rifle rounds in a row. So FlipSid will be hungry to try and pounce on top of this. Keep looking for those headshots. Here comes Valdo, though, with his AK spray down. And well, then it will land another one. Heroic, I mean, they're in the lead right now, but it's another 2-on-3. They also haven't picked up any rounds completely cleanly. They're hemorrhaging players. This is their economy just burning alive. And I will let it, who already nearly picked up a pretty sick 1v2, is in another one. If Glaive jumps again, he could very well meet his demise, because Will Let It did spot that first one. And now his crosshair trained onto the potential jump. And there we go. Oh, he misses out on the shot. He's also spotted Molly, so he knows where the last 2 players are with 50 seconds left. Information's pretty vital at this point, and now he's going to use that Molly, pick up the bomb, and dart away. But Molly has called this. And he's seen it, and he's going to now say, well, that it's on the site. This grenade could very well finish off Will. That it's going to be a Molotov. We'll let it out into the open. Still has time to play with. We're using every single second at his disposal. Very close to landing both of those shots, but not quite. And he seems to think the player is actually out on the site itself. It's not the case. Very passive play. Will that it will get the bomb planted. Comes back out again. How is he not dead yet? It's a question in my mind. And finally, Glaive will put him down. 3 kills. Glaive moves 16 and 8. And without Glaive, you fear the worst for Heroic. This would have been a complete bloodbath. It would have been as one-sided as you like. But it is going to get diffused.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
What's up, Infam? How you doing? Alright, so Heroic have picked it up. MP7 purchase for World Edit. That is an interesting one. Because statistically speaking, it's not as good as the UMP, especially against armor, so maybe it's just a personal preference thing. I'm not entirely sure, but he's going to be rocking out the MP7 up in box halls for now. P250 and Tech 9 accompany that with 2 AKs. There's a double up setup again. It's the second time we've seen this for Heroic. And once again, it's in the hands of Snappy and Freeze. Like to me, the fast execute makes a lot of sense when you have 2 pistols in play. I say fast execute, not quite as explosive as I was expecting. They're going to wait for this next flashbang. And Mori actually peeks the corner as the flash detonates in his eyes. But fortunately for him, Freeze is on the case. And he's putting down some serious work with the AWP. First kill, going to go his way in this confrontation. Meanwhile, the terrorists trying to dart their way onto the site. They have got the bomb planted. Electronic is using a close angle with the smoke alongside it. Maybe it's going to go up and should be picked off. There we go. Electronic with 1 frag. It's going to come around the corner a little bit too soon. And will get punished. Markelov spins around and lands the frag. What is happening here, Heroic? How is this even a close round? And now Snappy has to try and charge onto the site with a USP in hand, and he's not going to get it done. Heroic's woes continue. And for the last round, their economy is in such a bad place. 2 AWPs and 3 assault rifles facing off against 2 pistols and MP7 can't get it done. What did I just witness? So, Glaive down to 77. He's going to be struggling somewhat, but the rest of his team are going to try and hold firm. And again, it's going to be the big hit. Freeze with a 5-7 headshot. And, well, Electronic will come back with his own AK. Bomb planted. FlipSid looking good for the 9-6 lead at half-time. Rock will be coming round on the flank from bathrooms, but Marklov is in a pretty good position to hold this off. I say that, he actually gets picked off from behind. Now Glaves will go to down with the AK. Landing a couple of shots onto Blade there. Charging in should meet his demise. Indeed, he will. FlipSid 9-6 in the leads. And a rough one there for Heroic overall. Their CT side not working out at all. It's hard to see how FlipSid lose from this position, but we've seen this happen before in the past, so we should just have to wait and see. I feel like this second pistol is going to be so important. If Rock can take it down, maybe there's some dreams, some lives that can be spared. Yeah, there's a couple of technical issues, guys, that I'm trying to solve right now while I'm casting, streaming, and simultaneously trying to like type to people, so if the stream mini freezes because I've alt tab basically to try and ascertain some information. You're not missing anything, guys. The second half hasn't started, so don't you worry. I wish it was that simple, security. Ooh. Marty, hello. Who's the caster? Ametis. Watercolor, that's because I'm solo casting this in warm-up and I'm trying to figure out a couple things. Basically, some technical things that are going on right now that I'm trying to speak to the admins / producers with. And so, if I'm a bit quiet in warm-up, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to be casting through the warm-up anyway. But I'm trying to figure out what the issues are in the downtime, as I'm pretty much a one-man show at the moment. So, hopefully you guys can understand that. We are into the second pistol though, of course. Now we're actually live again. I will be casting, as per usual. FlipSid now will be assuming the CT side. And Heroic with a very poor 6 rounds on their CT side. And also, it should be mentioned that that's 6 rounds with winning the pistol and the round afterwards. So, very worrying stuff. In rifle rounds, they only picked up 4 in total. Here comes the waterfall of Heroic players, though, outside of Catwalk. And they're going to land frags and, more importantly, get the bomb planted. Giving them a great opportunity now to convert this one. Modi point blank range executes well at it with the USP that was picked up from the corpse. On the flip side, players. Blade will be the next to fall. And I said this second pistol will be important, and my goodness, Heroic came out swinging. kills here, there, and everywhere. Waylander on 5 health is going to try and save the Kevlar. But this will be Heroic getting the second pistol round for themselves. Coming out at the end, does get picked off. Maybe looking for exits as well. Not entirely sure what his thought process was there, but it doesn't really matter. It was effectively a lost cause. Aimlander 3K. Kappa. 3 Deeks and 2 5.7s will find their way into the hands of the counter-terrorists, including a kit actually. So FlipSid are setting up for a potential upset into this one. Fair enough. Positive thinking. Waylander has the Kevlar alongside his 5.7. Markov has Kevlar too, so if they can't get a weapon away from Heroic, maybe one of the assault rifles, that could be very punishing indeed. Markov looking for that one tap. And Glaive not feeling the Juans today, so instead he'll be backing away to the box halls. And honestly, this is the correct play, I would say. With UMP, what you're going to do at long range, you're going to potentially tap out against the Deagle. That's very dangerous indeed, and you don't want to lose any free frags like that. Markov actually relocates onto the train itself and is keeping his options open. Has the beautiful Damascus Steel M9. Pretty sick skin. I think it's underrated, to be honest. Fix sound delay. Yo, Goofies, you can do it yourself, bro, by refreshing Twitch. It is a known issue with Twitch. Hit that refresh button and you should be good to go. So 3 tall formation, but Markov is moving away. So this is actually going to leave Electronic all by his lonesome. He has the kit by himself, but no Kevlar means Aim Punch is alive and real. It may not end up mattering a great deal because Modi dispatches him with a clean headshot. There's the one tap stow, 2 of them in quick succession, making a third. Will Dennett lighting up Snappy, taking him down with ease. But the damage may not be enough. Heroic. I still installed position to Wall, it's landed a third. What is happening? A 4th Wall, it, please! What did I just witness? 4 1-taps in that round. And FlipSid clutch a round that should never be theirs in a million years. Heroic will be gutted. The Juan Deegs are real, alive and well. And FlipSid have just brutalized Heroic. That is unreal. And now Heroic have nothing. They don't have a pot to piss in. P250, that's it into this round. How cruel a Mistress Counter-Strike can be. Those 1-taps, although beautiful, at the same time, you've got to cringe a little bit and feel bad for Heroic. I mean, they played that round solidly, but you just can't equate. You can't account for some raw 1-taps heading your way. They're going to try and make amends with the bomb plant, and this bomb should be getting planted right now. Indeed, it will be from the hands of Modi. But that's going to be all they get out of this round, honestly. Frags are coming down. FlipSid will reclaim the site. And Modi's off on a walkabout here. He's gone off walkies. He's like, I want to watch some TV. Saving the Glock. Why not, boys? Did I watch ESL New York? Of course I did, Silent. It was amazing. In terms of Counter-Strike, that's one of the best tournaments I've seen in quite some time. Some great matches. The VP semi-finals in particular was a great, great game. So, as a result of that bomb plant in the battered, bruised round that Heroic managed to get just one to go, they will have a very solid buy here. AKs, nades across the board. Looking in fine position. Problem is, though, that FlipSid have a bunch of nades themselves. Interesting enough, they don't have an up. They do like to run double up setup on this map. Alkalov and World Edit will be the two to pick that up for themselves, more than likely. I was curious to see how Electronic would fit in, though, because that's when Shara was playing with them. So I want to see if they're going to do the same thing with Electronic, if he's just going to fit in kind of what Shara was doing before. But here comes the pop flash into execute. Plays up to the task, though. Actually, the flash didn't affect him at all, and there's the second frag just spinning around towards Team Main. And now Freeze has his work cut out for him. Not for too much longer. He is silenced. Electronic with a double spray down. Speaking man, he steps up big. FlipSid now looking in cruise control. No ops required. No need to trade out now. They must realize that Heroic's economy is in a place where the very most they're going to be up against is maybe a couple of Deagles or Tech 9s, not much else. And it is going to be Deagles. So can they return the favour that World Edit put towards them with his crazy 4K just a few rounds prior? Backside tactics. I like it. It's been a while since we had to say that. I mean, FlipSid have been very poor lately. It is important to mention that in the ESL Pro League, these two teams are currently bottom of the standings in EU. FlipSid are bottom. I think they're like 2 and 14 or something, and I believe Heroic are like 5 and 11. So these two teams are certainly battling for some pride today. Oh no, not again. Not like this. We've seen this before. Are we going to have a repeat performance? Maybe not. World Edit, the man to fire off all those 1Ds. He's going to silence it in this round. Glaive down to 32. Waylander should get the better of Moddy, and DP will. Bombs dropped out in a horrible position for the terrorists now. And Stappy coming through the smoke. It's going to be to his execution. Glaive and his 32 health against 4 solid, healthy CT players. Good luck. 13 to 7, and that economy now booming. I'm expecting to see maybe an AWP picked up. Electronic to like drop and then maybe buy an AWP. There we go. It's actually World Edit that picked up the AWP for himself, and we have that in play. It's only a matter of time. Ooh, Electronic with those 2 kills, though. It's going to push the T's back somewhat. They're still going to be going in with the bomb as well. That grenade and the molly could do so much damage, and now the terrorists have to force their way out. They're going to throw in some mollies of their own, though, with half of the fire. Too much to deal for Waylander. Finally gets the frag as he slows down and realizes, hold on a second, I can play this more composed. I have to spray frantically like a madman. I can just tap. And the tap's definitely working. Meanwhile, Freeze is peering behind, but all 3 of the counter-terrorists will be coming from the CT side of the map, and at least Freeze by himself. He has an incendiary, though, he can throw out, but there's 2 smokes to extinguish that, so the counter plays are real. There goes the smoke. He's going to throw out the molly anyway. That actually detonates! What is happening here? The bomb gets defused anyway. Did they derp the smoke? Not quite. I think they may have thrown the smoke into ramp. I kind of assumed they'd thrown the smoke down onto the site itself to stop this molly from coming in, but that was very close to actually getting stopped on the defuse. I think he got the defuse with 1 HP left. What is even happening? Waylander on the side's going to get forced out. The first incendiary molly frag comes through. It's going to be in the hands of Moddy. Snappy in the meanwhile will retaliate, but it's a 3-on-3 with Waylander burning to a crisp. We've had 2 molly kills so far in this round, and now Electronic's going to put down the pain with the M4, leaving Freeze in a 1-on-2. He surely heard the footsteps on the train. That's a beautiful shot onto Electronic, but he's going to get silenced by World Edit's Deagle. Now, FlipSid with a 15-7 lead. I thought this map might be close, with Heroic taking it, but it's been the complete opposite. FlipSid have been running away with this, looking rampant. Let's look at the scoreboard, who the movers are. Really nothing to determine between FlipSid. You've got Electronic 20, World Edit 19, everyone else filling in nicely. It's really Heroic where you see the skyscrapers and the dips. With Glaive on 21 and then There's a huge kill disparity between him and Moddy. He's on 8. So, FlipSid with 8 map points. It's hard to see them choke out from this position. Heroic with a 3-pronged potential attack onto A. You have Valda, who's moving his way through Ivy. Freeze and Glaive, who can go T main. And that leaves, obviously, Valda and Snappy, I believe. Sorry, no. Snappy and Moddy, who can push through onto Pop Dog. But when are they going to actually decide to go through with this? Because at this point, FlipSid are in pretty good positions to fend this off. They have each of those angles covered with smokes behind it. And Heroic only have 2 smokes to play with 2 flashes. So at some point, they're going to have to go for broke. And, well, the fact that Freeze has been picked off first makes that a lot more difficult. Blade, in the meanwhile, comes in with a frag as well. It's going to horribly wrong for Heroic. And it's going to just go away from them. It's going to be 16-7 in the end. With FlipSid taking this map in style. And I have absolutely no idea what to say about what I just witnessed. I never in a million years thought it would be that one-sided. And I actually thought if it was going to be a wreckage, it would go to Heroic. But I was proven to be completely incorrect, ladies and gents. How do you even analyse that game? Unreal. I'm going to get myself a quick drink, guys. I'm going to return. We'll be back for map number 2, which will be Overpass. So stay tuned, and we shall see if Heroic can get their revenge. Be right back.